Good morning, guys. Hopefully everybody's doing wonderful. Welcome back to A Trucker's Life. I'm Jorge Navarro. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you already been subscribed, welcome back. And no, I'm not on vacation yet, guys. I'm leaving on July 1st. I know some of you guys are kind of, I guess we're under the impression that it was going to be June 1st, but actually it's July 1st. So I haven't gone on the Salvadoran vacation yet. Stay tuned for that. That was coming soon, very soon. But right now I'm pretty excited. I'm actually came to, you know, as Hispanics, we're always trying to find excuses to make parties. So we, I don't know if you guys have heard of quinceañeras, which is a 15th birthday. It's kind of like a sweet 16, but it's a 15th birthday. It's a big party, big celebration that we do, that most Latinos do. It's a traditional, but there's been kind of like a newer thing. I mean, it's been happening for a while now, but it's a newer thing called quinceañero, which is a guy, which is a boy, 15th birthday. So that's what we came for. We came from Houston to Round Rock, Texas, to a quinceañero and a graduation party. So 2 parties, knock them both out. Knock them both out with one swoop, and we're just trying to do some family time. But very excited for this morning because we're gonna go meet somebody that you guys have seen him on the channel before, but we're actually gonna go get to see him in action today. And you guys will see who I'm talking about and what he does here in a second. But pretty interesting job. And I'm not gonna say no more. Let's go wait for him, and we'll talk to him here in a bit. All right, guys, so those of you that have been here for a while will know this story a little bit, but for a brief moment, real brief moment, you could have blinked an eye for how little bit of a moment that was. About a month's time, I attempted to do car hauling, and he was actually my trainer. Q was actually my trainer, and we just became good friends, and then we became riding partners. We'd ride our Harleys together. Like I said, I'll link the video, and that's how we became friends. Now, he moved away from where I live. He moved over to the Austin area, and I had gotten some motorcycle. We had gotten some parts painted by Juan. Shout out to Juan again, my homeboy that does painting, and he painted the saddlebags for his bike. So he bought some extended saddlebags and got them painted to match his bike. So I went ahead and came over here and brought them to him now that he lives so far away, and the painting had, you know, took place over in my area. So that's why I got the opportunity to come over here and meet up with him. But it's always good to meet up with good friends. So right here, right now, we're about to watch Q in action unload these cars. Now, it's a process, guys, and it takes a small guy like him. It's very rare. If you look at it, keep your eye from now on car haulers. And I'm not gonna say there's not big guys out there like me, but there are very few in between of big guys. Most of them are little small guys, little skinny guys, kind of like Mr. Q there. They can just get in and out of these cars like there's no tomorrow. Unfortunately, didn't work out that great for me. And the hardest part, guys, was really, there was 2 hard parts about this, but the hardest part was, for me, was backing up the cars, because for me to get my big butt to turn around with the belly in the way and all that other good stuff, or bad stuff, it was difficult for me to do that. The other hard part about this is also, it's like a puzzle. Once you get to know it, of course you get to know it, that's because that's what you do. But it's a lot like a puzzle, and you got to know exactly where each car needs to go. And if you notice, let me show you, point out real quick. If you notice that first car is, most of the time it's facing backwards like that. So what has to happen? You have to reverse all the way up, all the way to the top. And then when you get to the top, when you know the game, when you know what you need to do, there's like this little pocket where those back wheels fall into. And if you don't know the game, then you end up on the ground up there in front of that Pete. So not a good situation to be in. But like I said, it's like a puzzle. Each car has to go a certain way, and there's certain parts that can get damaged, like where this red one is right here. If the car's too low, there's a skid plate there where the truck, that's where the actual fifth wheel's at, and you can damage the front end of the car that way too. Behind the cab, if you're behind the cab, backing in behind the cab, you also got to be careful not to run into the cab of the truck and damage the vehicle you're unloading. This vehicle here also is more susceptible to damage from a road. If you notice, there's plates on the bottom of the truck right there, and those plates prevent from debris from jumping up and hitting that car, but it still does. So that one is one you have to really, really be careful with. And then, of course, you have to be able to figure out the length, make sure everything's lengthwise. These are all small, mid-size SUVs, so it's not a big deal. But we were loading Chevrolets and GMCs, full-size, 4 Dodges, and you had to figure out how those would go. And there was a certain pattern to back them up in between here. And guys, it is extremely narrow in between there. Everybody loves these wide cars, these new wide body cars, but for car haulers, they're car haulers' worst enemies, because you have to get them inside this cage right here, inside the nest. That's where you have to get them in there, and you have to back them up or go forward with them, and it's very difficult. So this whole section right here takes some skill to do what you got to do. The top is not as bad. Those usually go in forward, just like you see they are there, but the top back one is one of the difficult ones, and then all these bottom ones right here. So it is we might not think about it, but there's a lot of thinking to this particular job. You also got to think about height. You can't be a certain height. You got to think, you got to think about the length, the height, and then the weight. So depending on the variety of vehicles that you get given to load, that's going to change the variety of where all this stuff goes. So there's a lot to it on how everything's going to be loaded and put. So let's get out here and watch Q in action, and let's see how this works. Oh, the hydraulics.
Yeah, a lot easier than holding that button that we used to do.
Oh, yeah.
They ran off of the transmission.
Right, this one runs, what's the difference between this one and that one, and the old ones?
If this goes out, I can't do no work.
Oh, you're done.
I'm done. I have to call someone to fix it. With the old one, it's electrical, so I can operate.
So this one runs off PTO?
This runs off PTO.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because on the other ones,
it was a little switch.
It was a little
like this. And you'd hold that switch, and that's how you'd operate all the controllers.
Yeah, you couldn't move any of this stuff without having that button. It was a pain, because whenever you had to sit here and hold that for so long, and
your thumb would start hurting.
Yep.
Yeah, it definitely was a headache.
Yep.
Nothing's different than doing the new cars, except you got cars that are dead from time to time.
Oh, okay.
Like every last one of these gonna get jumped up.
And these are used cars, so they're not as picky, because they already have something that a scratch here and there and all that other stuff.
They don't necessarily worry about that. They're overpaying for all these cars.
Right now they are, right?
Everyone's overpaying for used cars now.
Yeah. Wow.
So the market for used cars is high. Yeah, they don't know what they're getting, man. That's the sad part. They'll get vehicles that are. I think I delivered one vehicle that it barely went 5 miles an hour.
Wow. So how's this whole chip thing been affecting you?
It's been affecting me because we've been slow. We've been slow, especially delivering a lot of the big three, the GMs and the Ford and Dodges. That's the biggest ones that are affected, and that's the bulk of the business around here.
So you did you've always done used cars with this company?
Yeah, I've done used
they
do both. They do used and brand new cars.
Okay.
So it kind of helps us out. Last year with the pandemic, when everything came to a halt, I was still able to keep moving with used cars, because that's when the market for used cars started going up. In the midst of the pandemic, people were buying more used cars. So me personally, I was able to stay afloat, if not work more picking up used cars.
And that's, you're lucky that you're with this company, because they
Yeah,
do both.
they do both.
But like the
Hanson and Atkins car, USAL, those guys where they're both, all of their business is brand new. A lot of those guys were laid off. I mean, I had friends even in here that got laid off.
Okay.
You know, they did furlough some people, you know, to cut costs, and they gave us an option. I just chose to keep working. You know, a lot of people decided to stay home. I just chose to keep going, and it worked out good for me. I was able to, you know, be very beneficial last year.
Cool.
You know, so not too bad.
All right, now they got to create the wedge, the whole ramp. The ramp that deals with that one car right there. Everything that has to be done just for that one car to get off. But Q, which one is the most difficult car for you? I mean, I know for you, none, no more, right? But
when I first started?
Yes. That one up there, right?
The scary one.
That's what I was telling them.
That's the one that's the scariest. It's the backing from the ground all the way up there.
Yeah.
Because of the uncertainty. You don't know if you hit too much gas, you're going down, and you're praying to God, looking up at the sun. You know?
You're gonna be looking up at God whenever you stop, huh?
That's all you're doing, you know, and you bass hope it catches you. But that's the most scariest one. It's that backing the vehicle off. Everything else is easy.
Yeah.
Drive on. Nope. 90% of people don't back into parking spots. Right. So that's why bagging up is so hard.
Yeah.
And then you're bagging up from ground all the way. People think, oh, I'm not scared of heights. And then they start moving.
Yeah.
Realize we don't like being up that high. So it gets nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Especially going backwards.
And that's small.
Yeah.
And that's small. That's
what I was telling them. I said, everybody loves these wide body cars and stuff, but
if it was a big truck,
but you got to deal with it.
If it was a big truck, it's even worse, because all your tires are here.
Yep.
You have no room to go left, right. You got poles. One little wrong move and you're going to the side. You won't even make it to the top.
Yep. Then you got dualies.
They don't back up. They only go forward.
Yep.
You know, it's easier to back them off the trailer than to try to back them on.
Yep.
But they're wide. You got tires that's hanging off right here.
Uh-huh.
You know, front tires barely holding on there. So it comes with its own set of complications. All these trucks now are coming with some kind of lift, big tires. That makes it harder, you know, makes the job a little bit more harder, but if it was easy, everyone would do it.
That's true. That's true. So So we're gonna ride down with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
All right, we're gonna take a walk up.
All right, guys, well, Q's already done with his unloading process, but I want him to touch on and show you guys what the difference is between a regular semi and this semi right here. There are a lot of differences. As you can tell, there are a lot of differences by the structure, but driving this thing is kind of throwing away a lot of what you know about regular semis out the window. Some of it. So I'll let him explain and show you why the reasoning is behind a lot of this stuff.
All right. First off, the frame is stretched out to accommodate the car haulers. It is riding on a car hauler axle, so it's lowered. It doesn't sit up as high as you would normally get it. Most of our roofs are chopped. That way we can put taller vehicles up top. And then our tires are different. A lot of car hauler drive tires, they're running 19.5s. So they're running smaller tires. As you see, they run 285, 70, 19.5s. They're smaller. A lot of people don't like to work on them, but they're designed for car hauler. They're thicker ply tires just for car haulers, just for the weight that's put on here. Driving wise, it's pretty much the same. Nothing changes on that aspect. It goes to when you're turning and where your center of gravity is. In a conventional truck and trailer, your fifth wheel is high, it's up here. In a car hauler, your lower, it's low, it's to the ground. This is where your center of gravity is. So you're backing up or you're turning a corner, this thing tracks a lot quicker than it would normally track per se with a 53-foot high mount trailer. You can usually take turns out of one lane depending on the street that you're going down, so it makes it a lot easier. Backing up, any little movement of the trailer, any little movement of your steering wheel, the trailer will move. It'll move very, very fast. Those are some of the differences. It's not too many when it comes to going down the road and turning. Our tandems in the back, they don't move, they're stationary. We have to follow all the same guidelines as a 53-foot box. You know, we're still 12, 34, 34. We still could only haul 80,000 pounds. Tandems do not move. They don't slide. They don't go anywhere. We have vehicles that'll sit right here. They'll usually sit right in between the tandems, so you get your weight just right. I mean, outside of that, and then we have an overhang. This right here, this trailer that I have, truck and trailer combination, is 80 feet. So we gain an extra 5 feet from the traditional 75-footer car hauler trailer. This extra flipper here allows us to put bigger vehicles. Nationwide law, it gives us a 6-foot overhang on the back and a 4-foot overhang on the front when we're loaded. Once we're empty, everything has to be put away. DOT stops us, we can get a ticket because we're not loaded. We're not supposed to have anything hanging out. We carry flags for when you have vehicles hanging out here, just so people people can see you. I mean, and then like I said, outside of that, there isn't too much. Lower too. And these sit low. Yes, they do. It's up high now. It's up high now because it's empty. There's no weight on here. So it'll go down another inch or two once it's loaded down. So if I have big trucks on here, this thing will sink a little bit more. It levels out, but it'll sink a little bit more. It's almost like a low boy. It's almost like a low boy.
So you gotta be careful on.
Yes, you have to be careful on railroad tracks, humps going in and out of driveways. You can't take them at a straight angle. You have to go sideways. So when you're going, what tends to happen, you get high centered very, very easily. Right here is where you usually get high centered. It catches right here, and it's gonna start catching right here. Once these two spots catch, you're done. You can't go anywhere. Your drives are just gonna spin. And by then it's time to call a hook and let them pull you out.
So when you're loaded, what is important? What can you not do with this that you can do?
As far as
turning, because of the car you have right here.
So in a regular 75-foot truck and trailer, you can't jackknife. The biggest thing is jackknife. If you're all the way up here and you're turning, that bumper of that vehicle can get into right here, or it can get into here. So your turning capabilities are a little bit different. That's why you'll see a lot of car haulers, they swing out wide and they take as much room as possible, because the rule that we have is from wrist to elbow. That's the amount of turning room we need. So when this truck turns, this kicks out that way and this kicks this way. So they miss each other. But the closer you get, the shorter your turning room is gonna get. The less you can turn, the harder it's gonna be to back up or get into a tight spot. Most car haulers can get into anywhere. We can't back up to save our lives, but most car haulers can get into any tight spot. Like I said, because of the trailer, it tracks so easily. Where our center of gravity is, it is a lot easier to maneuver this as opposed to a 53-foot trailer.
Oh, and how long have you been doing this?
This year makes my 10th year.
Oh,
Jesus, yeah. 10 years hauling cars. I've seen a lot has changed. Vehicles have gotten smaller. You know, they went from small to big.
Yeah.
Even the cars are getting bigger. At one point, these little Hyundai Elantras, they were tiny little things. Now look at the size. I'm pretty sure the next generation they're gonna get bigger. These Santa Fe's, everything's getting bigger. Nothing's getting smaller, so it's getting a little bit more harder to load the stuff, and every day it's a challenge. Now you're getting vehicles with a lift on there, so that makes it even harder. You know, you have bigger tires, so you have to compensate for going under bridges. You know, you have vehicles like that, and it comes with a lift.
Yeah.
Already from the dealership, from the manufacturer.
It's like a puzzle.
It's a puzzle every day. You look at the sheet, you got to figure out what you have, and you fit it accordingly. You know, we have a height stick. We know where we're going the majority of the time. You put that height stick on there and you try to get as close as your height. If you know you're going on the bridges, you really have to be mindful. You're driving and you're looking up as you're driving a lot of the times, because we have this head rack. This head rack helps out as well. You know, right now it's down because I haul a lot of trucks. So to get me right at 14.1, 14.2, if I raise it up, I'll be all right if I haul something small. So you have to look beyond that. That's another thing when you're driving down the road. You have to look beyond this whole entire head rack here in order to see. Yeah, go ahead.
Stand up there and kind of raise your hand.
And you see how it looks? And it is what it looks like from right here. You can barely see me. But also on a conventional truck, this would sit up a lot higher. It has the car hauler suspension. Yeah, it has a car hauling suspension under it. So everything is different. Same 22.5s that you'd ride on a conventional, but these are just for car haulers. You can't go out and get these 295/60 22.5s because they're not going to fit your truck. They're car haul tires. These are rated for about 14,000 pounds. Like I said, outside the driving part, everything is, it takes time to know what you're doing, to get past knowing that you have something over your head. That's usually the problem for a lot of people. I got something up there, I'm gonna hit it. When you're turning and you have something hanging off, you got obstacles that you have to watch out for. You got light poles, you got trees. There's just so many obstacles. Trees are your big thing. Trees are not your best friend. in a car hauler. They are not. Because you can go from having a nice looking vehicle to a scratched up vehicle the minute you touch the side of trees. Most car haulers to avoid trees.
I messed up some Cadillacs.
Yeah, he did. And it happens though, it happens. It definitely happens. You'll notice car haulers, they'll go weaving down the street if there's a lot of trees. They'll look like a snake going down the street. It irritates a lot of people, but trying to deliver, the vehicles in the same fashion that I picked them up in. I mean, and like I said, outside of that, those are the major differences. Driving down the road, it's no different. It's no different. Once you're on an open highway, hold on to the steering wheel and just keep going. Oh, not a problem. I appreciate you for coming out and taking the time and, seeing what I do outside of what we're riding the last time, and give people an inside of car hauling.
Yeah, and that's something that I've been wanting to show the viewers, that there are a lot of different things out here that you can do, but some things need a little more skill than others. This needs a little bit more, I think. In my opinion, this needs a little bit more, not in the driving part like he said, but more into figuring out how everything is loaded and how the process is, and there's a lot to it. I didn't think there was this much to it, but there is actually a lot to it. Plus, they have to worry about, in the new car side, damages. So they get a damaged vehicle, they get it returned. So it's something that you also have to put on top of everything else that you're dealing with. But that's the life. That's the trucker's life, and this is a little glimpse into a car hauler's life.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, Q, I really appreciate you, man.
Hey, not a problem. Not a problem.
Always been a good friend of mine,
Yes,
and we'll keep on making memories and keep on. Maybe one day I'll ride my bike out here. Hopefully one day.
I'm waiting.
Because there's some beautiful riding country out here. The hill country out here in Texas, beautiful. And that's where he lives now. So I'm a little jealous, but we're gonna make some changes here probably soon. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, guys, thank you, Q. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it on this video. Like I always say, guys, don't forget, guys, to be kind to one another. Help anybody needs help. Anybody contemplating suicide, 1-800-273-8255. Military men and women, thank you so much for your service. And from here, from a car hauler's life, peace. We're out of here.